Hey, this is Stu, and I'm here to talk to you about the all-new Magic Bullet Mojo 2. Now, Magic Bullet Mojo has always been about making your footage look great, fast, and Mojo 2 is an awesome update with new presets, new, more professional control, and the same easy workflow to just get your shots looking good without worrying too much about color. All right, so let's start with this shot here. I'm going to grab Magic Bullet Mojo 2, just drop it right on here. And the first important thing to note is that Magic Bullet Mojo 2 now supports log footage. So this footage is log, and the color is already starting to happen here, but it's not contrasty enough. That's because we haven't told Mojo 2 what our footage is. So we go to My Footage Is and choose Log. And now everything's looking the way it's supposed to be looking. So what is Magic Bullet Mojo 2 doing? Well, it's doing Mojo. That's what this slider is right here. Now, it's kind of a silly name, but you get the idea. If I turn it all the way down, the footage is kind of its normal colors here, and as I start to crank it up, I'm just cooling off the shadows and warming up the midtones. I'm preserving skin and just kind of adding some seasoning to the shot. Now, it's up to you if you want to crank this up really high and go for a super stylized look, or just add a tiny, tiny little bit of it. It's completely up to you. It's a lot more subtle and precise than it was in the previous version of Mojo to reflect kind of a modern color sensibility here. So the Mojo preset starts with just 50% Mojo, but then you can start kind of going through the presets and seeing what the rest of them do. Mucho is just a lot of Mojo. Optimus, well, you can probably imagine where that inspiration came from. I'm going to go to fluorescent, and you can see a sort of greener look, and that's done with Mojo Tint. So all of these presets are just adjusting these built-in parameters here. There's no secret sauce under the hood. Everything that the presets do, you can do yourself and adjust if you want. So fluorescent gets its greenish look by pushing Mojo Tint over to the right. If you push it over to the left, you get a more blue kind of a look. So you can see how a lot of the presets are getting their color tones by some combination of Mojo and Mojo Tint. Let's just go through some of the other presets here. We've got, that was fluorescent. Here's machines. Here's caravan. Here's one called war. This one's called noir. It's black and white. That's done by pushing bleach it all the way to 200. If you back that off, you start getting some color in there. Here's one called handmade. Handmade is kind of neat. It uses fade it, which if I bring up my scopes here, you can see what's going on. I'll pull fade it down to 0. You can see nice rich black levels in the shot. Bring fade it up, and you can see I'm starting to get that sort of hipster filmic grade look. Again, totally up to you how much or how little of that you want. Only a couple of the presets use that one. All right, now let's go back to presets here. I'm just going to choose Mojo as my preset because I do kind of like the way this looks. It's given the shot just kind of a good, clean overall look here. And let's remember this is 4K footage here and it's playing back in real time in Premiere because we've got Mojo Mercury optimized. So you've got a yellow bar here, which is kind of nice. So I'm just going to grab these Mojo settings here, copy, and move to the previous shot in my timeline and hit paste. And you can see obviously for this shot, although it's kind of nice looking, it's very, very dark. So in Mojo 2, we've got this corrections section. It makes it really easy to just do these shot-to-shot adjustments. So without changing anything about the overall look, I'm just going to bring up the exposure. And now Mojo 2 is just helping me get a nice consistent look between these two shots. Maybe this shot's looking a little warm compared to the exterior shot. That's probably fine, but I could adjust that with cool warm. Now I've got a really nice cut between these two shots. Let's try one more time here. Paste onto this shot. Again, it's looking a little dark, so go into corrections. I'm going to bring up exposure. But this shot's also looking a little bit pink, so I'm going to go down to green magenta and just bring it over a little bit. Now I've got a better match between these two shots. And that is really the idea behind Mojo, is you get your shot looking good right off the bat, either with a preset or with something you design, and then make it super easy to just do basic shot-to-shot balancing. So you can get on with editing and just have nice looking stuff to look at. Maybe this becomes your final color correction, maybe it's a part of it, or maybe you just did this just to get things looking good for your client so you could get to work. Now, another thing I want to tell you about Mojo is how to deal with professional log footage. This is some area Mira footage here, really beautiful footage, and Mojo is going to really love this footage here. Let's apply it. Now, this isn't right because the default here is for flat video, but even log is not going to be able to add enough contrast and color to this professional airy log footage here. So I'm going to go and choose Log Pro. And now you can see this footage is looking the way it should. Now this is already looking really great just at the defaults, but this shot gives me a great opportunity to talk about two of the most powerful sliders in Mojo 2. So again, I'm going to bring up my scopes here, and I want to call your attention to the beautiful blue colors in this shot, which are represented here in the vector scope by this little bit of color down here. Mojo 2 has a slider called Blue Squeeze. If I grab it and turn it up, you can see what I'm doing is I'm unifying all of the blue hues in the shot towards the same shade of blue. And you can see that in the scope down here. You can see that little bit of blue squeezed together into one unified color. Now I can control which blue that is with Mojo Tint. So if I push it to the left, the blues get really bluey blue. And if I push it to the right, they go through cyan and almost to green. And again, you can see them moving around down there in the scopes. So this is a really great way to create a simplified, unified cinematic color palette. And a lot of the presets use this control. Now, the same thing we can do for blue, we can do for skin. So Skin Squeeze is going to take these already beautiful looking skin tones in the shot and just unify them all together. And again, you can see the effect happening in the scope down there. Good looking skin is a really important part of the Mojo recipe. In fact, we give you control over it down here under corrections. So if you want some help with it, you can turn on Show Skin Overlay. And now we've got this handy grid that's showing us where skin is lining up with the sort of true color on the vector scope. And then we've got this skin yellow pink control. Push it to the left, I get yellow skin. Push it to the right, I get pink, which means that even if you have problematic skin tones in your shot, this slider will help you make them perfect. Turn off Skin Overlay. Now I've got a really good looking shot here. The last thing I want to tell you about Mojo 2 is that it also works in Magic Bullet Looks. I'm going to grab Magic Bullet Looks and apply it to this shot. I'm going to tell Looks that this footage is log, and now I can start shopping for presets. And if I look at a bunch of the new presets that ship in Magic Bullet Looks 4.0 are using Mojo 2 as part of their recipe. So let's maybe grab this one, and we can see that Mojo 2 is using just a little bit of Mojo, some negative tint, some punch, which is the contrast control that's built into Mojo, a lot of blue squeeze and a little bit of skin squeeze, slight exposure adjustment, and a slight skin tone adjustment. So that's Magic Bullet Mojo 2, an easy way to get your shots looking great, fast, with customizable presets and easy shot-to-shot adjustments.